I will call this meeting to order. We will start with the consent agenda. All the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at AHA meetings will be approved by one vote unless any trustee desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of discussion, consideration, and action on the following items. Minutes of the special trustee meeting, June 20th, 2023. Minutes of the special trustee meeting, August 1st, 2023. Minutes of the regular finance committee meeting, July 18th, 2023. Minutes of the regular finance committee meeting, August 15th, 2023. And a check report, June 9th, 2023 through August 8th, 2023.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items A through Z.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Greg Bowen, to approve the consent agenda as it was presented. Roll call vote, please.
Jasper?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Burke?
Yes.
Randalls?
Yes.
Simon? Yes. Brown?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Halo, glad you could join us.
My hair went so long. I didn't even get my hair dry. That's how much I cared about being here.
Well, we had cheesecake for you.
I see that!
We didn't think you were coming, so
Is there not any left?
there's.
I have good communication.
I would have ate two if I didn't
No,
know.
you ate the second one. See, he ate the second one.
Filthy. That's all right. I didn't eat it.
Okay.
That's good.
You sure you don't want a piece?
No, thank you. That's nice though.
We'll go make another one.
You would?
Yes.
No, thank you.
Hold on. I'll go back.
Don't take no for an answer.
You hid it from me. That's what you did. You guys are ill. Yay. Jay pointed it out and I was like, they do have cheesecake. My son must put it.
No, I left mine in there for you.
You're my best.
Don't say we never did anything for you, Ayla.
I love it. Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned. Next item is the CEO's report. Candace?
All right, we got lots of stuff to cover. I think what I'll do is just start with a little snapshot that I took before you give you guys, and if you had something in your board reports from the managers that you want to talk about, we can do that. We continue working really hard to get through the nursing home contracts, and we were hoping to have that for you tonight. Unfortunately, one of the attorneys had a medical emergency and was not able to finish reviewing this, get together and finish reviewing it with their attorneys. So hopefully they'll get that done as soon as possible, but likely we will need to have a special meeting to get that accomplished, because the goal is to start that management agreement at the first of a month. So if we don't do it at some point in this month, then we would have to wait another 4 months to get that done if we waited to the next board meeting. So, but it's looking good. There is an item on the agenda regarding setting up a bank account to be able to sweep funds, because those revenues will come into our account. The city knows all the other money. So we want you to consider a fund, an account that revenue from that, when the management agreement starts, that we can sweep that money to after that, because they will be signers on that account. So we can get to that in a little bit. Anyhow, so the orthopedic program, the goal of our orthopedic program obviously is to drive business to Shore Medical Center that might normally leave town, just because historically they've not had another option. By starting this orthopedic program, we're giving them that option. Keeping those patients in town, utilizing the services that we provide, that money stays in Alva. Our goal is to bring services to the community that are needed and support the hospital for years to come. It's not unlike any other business in town that asks our customers and residents to shop locally. We provide overhead for running a large facility, 24/7, 365, and we need the community of support for all the services that we provide. And I'd like to take a moment to recap our orthopedic program activities we've been working on. As this program continues to build, we are getting great feedback from Dr. Tupper's patients. He's done multiple procedures. We continue to acquire equipment for different procedures, and he's been very complimentary of the staff. If you'll recall, we started looking for a surgeon for this program towards the end of '22 and located Dr. Tupper. In January of '23, Coach Foster with Alva Public Schools reached out to me and wanted to discuss us providing a trainer or a medical personnel that could be on the sidelines, and we agreed to do that. Felt like that would be good for those kids to get seen in a timelier manner. Coach Foster came and met Dr. Tupper and Steve Madrid March 3rd to discuss what services we could provide to those injured athletes and how quickly we could get them seen. Same day, we also met with Brad Franz and Keith Ware and just discussed the needs, what we could do to help them as well. And we are excited to say that we have our first 2 Northwestern football students that will be seeing Dr. Tupper next week. So we're excited that these kids don't have to drive to Oklahoma City. We're bringing one of the most talented Oklahoma City orthopedic surgeons right here to Alva, Oklahoma. To recap our community services, with Alva Public Schools, for many years our providers have donated their time and performed the back-to-school sports physicals. This year we provided over 200 physicals. Shannon Rose has completed the concussion assessment training and has provided those assessments on the sideline when needed. I know that she did that for Coach Sklar for about 3 years and has done that when asked on the sidelines over the last few years. We've provided an LPN for a school nurse at Washington last year, and we will be doing so again this year. We picked up the physical therapy contract. Shannon and Jordan will be serving those Alva Public School students this year, and we're excited to be able to provide that service. We have provided infection control and COVID-19 support as requested, and obviously always willing to help when we can with that. One other thing, not in my report, that we've been working on, Patient Point is a provider satisfaction tool that we are implementing soon. It's a project that Kelly and Maddie have actually been working on over the last few weeks. This is a tool that patients will receive a text to your phone after you see one of our clinic providers and be able to anonymously rate those providers and give us feedback on what we can do better if we need to. It'll give us immediate feedback, and if there's a situation where we need to reach out to do service recovery, we'll have the opportunity to do that. But I feel like this is a great opportunity to give kudos to our providers. Typically, the people that are Googling are looking for somewhere to leave bad feedback. People don't typically go out to Google and leave you, 5 stars for the day. So I feel like it's important morale-wise for our providers, because they're out there working very hard to provide a good service. This is an easy way for them to get the kudos from their patients that they deserve, and also at the same time be able for us to provide service or recovery if there's an opportunity for that as well. So we're excited to be able to do that. Along with that comes some really neat software for their patient rooms. I don't know if any of you have been to bigger hospitals and see that maybe if you went to the cardiologist, they pull up this neat little digital diagram and can flip through there and show you the chambers of the heart or, the human body so that your provider can explain maybe what's going on and give you a visual idea of what they're trying to explain. So there's some really neat things that come along with that. So we're excited to get that, and that comes free with it, right? Free. So anyway, that is my report. Is there any questions that I can answer for you? I know there's a lot of information, like I was telling Jason, when we missed our July report. That makes a lot of stuff to cover, and it's kind of old news at that point, so I'm not going to go over that. You've got it in your packets. If there's something that you want to talk about now or catch me later, be happy to go over those things. Thank you.
Any questions for Candace? If not, I would entertain a motion first on the July written report for July 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve and accept the Shared Medical Center written report for July 2023.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Hannaford, a second by Dr. Simon, to approve the Shared Medical Center written report for July 2023. Roll call vote, please.
Bowman,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Randalls,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Gasper.
Yes. The next item is the written report for August 2023.
Make a motion to approve and accept the Shared Medical Center written report for August 2023.
Second.
Yes, sir.
I have a motion by Dr. Hannaford, a second by Greg Bowman, to approve the Shared Medical Center written report for August 2023. Roll call vote, please.
Burke,
Yes.
Randalls,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Gasper,
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Okay, Candace, thank you. Next item is the CFO's reports.
All right, so we're going to cover both June and July. And since June was the end of our fiscal year, we'll go over them and then go over the July ones as well. Let's look here. Okay, so our operating cash closed at the end of June at about almost $42,000, which represents about 1.2 days of operating expense. I did want to point out that we did have 3 payrolls in the month of June, so obviously that definitely impacts our cash flow. Our hospital AR decreased by about $500,000, so it was just a little bit above $3.5 million for the end of the year. Our AR days, we had got those decreased down to 11.1, or unbilled AR days, excuse me, which is still above the KPI of 6 days that we are striving for. I did want to talk about the fact that we have contracted with a coding company called CodeQuick. So they are going to, they actually have, at that time they were going to start working on taking on our coding for our inpatient and outpatient areas of the hospital. They are now doing that and working through the coding. This is allowing the person who was doing our coding to focus more on HIM and the HIM needs that we have, and that we're not always getting done as timely as they could be. So we're excited about that partnership, and it's not been 100% smooth, but it's getting better, and we're really beginning to work out very well. The main piece with that is that we're looking to kind of stabilize our unbilled AR, and that would, and then in turn allow us to increase our cash flow and to stabilize that cash flow. Our billed AR was at 53.8 days at the end of June, which is down a little bit from May, and it did get us below our KPI goal of 55 days. Our AP decreased at the end of June to about $590,000, which is about 34 days of operating expenses. Our cash flow had been pretty consistent at that point in time, and it was allowing us to get our AP paid down. I can't talk. Gross patient revenue for the month of July was $1.6 million, which was a slight decrease from the month of May. We ended the year at about $20.1 million year to date in gross patient revenue, which was an increase over 2022. It was just about 80% of where we were projecting the year for our budget. A couple of pieces that we had built into our budget that didn't happen quite like we wanted them to. We didn't get our surgery program or orthopedic program off the ground as early in the year as we had hoped, and so that being said, it kind of kept us from getting our gross patient revenue where we wanted it to be. I am excited that that's really gaining ground and moving forward in the right direction. Our hospital expenses for the month of June decreased by about $50,000. Year to date, we closed out expenses at about $13.3 million, which was an increase over the previous year. But we had a lot of expenses this year. With our implementation to Expanse, that came with a lot of different things that we had to, that required more spending. For the month of June, we closed out the year with closed out the month with a net income of $80,000. Year to date, our net loss was just under $600,000. If we are looking at the comparative numbers for fiscal year 19, which was pre-COVID, we were in a little bit better spot than we were in 2019. Our 340B revenue was down just a little bit for the month of June, but we ended up with year-to-date 340B revenue of about $506,000. I know that was a lot of information on the June financial statements. Does anybody have any questions on that? If there's no questions on June, then I'll move into July. July, not quite as nice looking, which we were anticipating that with our implementation to Meditech Expanse. Obviously that, there's a lot of things that we had to get through to be able to,
In July and June.
yes, and also being July and June historically is a slow month for us. We did close out our operating cash account about $35.6 thousand, which is 1.6 days of operating expenses. Our hospital AR, it increased just about $13,000 to a little bit above $3.5 million. So our unbilled AR, it increased to 12.4. We were expecting an increase with the implementation of Expanse. We did expect that to go up. I will say I feel like part of the reason it didn't go up as much as what I was expecting is because we did have Code Quick on board, and they were working to code our accounts and kind of help keep those claims flowing through. Now our billed AR, it increased to 97.9 days. So with this implementation, getting everything online, obviously there's a lag as far as the billing is concerned, so we didn't get any statements billed out in the month of July, or sent out in the month of July, as we worked through that implementation and getting everything ready. So we did anticipate that would increase. We are working through that statement process now in the month of August, and we should start seeing that trend down again once we get things moving forward. Our hospital AP increased to about $886,000, which that was also anticipated. We had to take all of our invoices out of our old system and enter them into our new system. We didn't bring that information over, so there is a little bit of lag time built in there, and then also with the decrease in cash flow that we had coming in, it lets it get built up just a little bit. Our gross patient revenue closed out the month of July at $1.3 million, which is a little bit down from the month of June. As Candace stated, this historically is a very slow month for us, and then you add in the implementation where we were allowing our providers to spend more time between patients so they could work in the new system and get familiar with it. That added to that slowdown of revenue as well. Our hospital operating expenses were consistent with the month of June, not a whole lot of variance. Our salaries were down just a little bit over 2022. Once again, the increase in expenses that we've had for the implementation and just we have IT coverage built in there. There's a lot of things that are flowing in there that we didn't necessarily have in the previous year. So As we get through this implementation, a lot of those fees will stop and those expenses hopefully should come down. We did end the month of July at a net loss of $78.6 thousand, which while it is a net loss, it is a better spot than where we closed out this month in 2019, which was pre-COVID, and even last year, which had some COVID revenue in there. And our 340B stayed consistent with where it was in June at about $22,000 for the month of July. Are there questions there that I can answer? Guys, we're talking a bunch.
So as far as our implementation, where do we stand? Where are we?
As far as the AR, or just generally speaking in the implementation?
Let's do general first.
So generally speaking, we had some areas with some rough patches. From a billing perspective, when our billers came on site for our go live, because our go live obviously for billing is after the clinics go live, got to have stuff to work, some information to work with there. They did say that it was one of the smoothest transitions from the billing perspective that they had seen. There wasn't a lot of things for them to tackle or do because we had planned so well. You know, using Forvis to help sit in on those calls and kind of help us manage that, I think was a big piece of that. And while it was, you know, we did get a grant for some of that, but we did have some of that expense that we did incur. I think that, in my opinion, I think Candace, your opinion, I think that's what contributed to that smooth transition in billing. I think probably the biggest piece is just working through the statements and getting, so they don't generate the statements out of Meditech Expanse. TrueBridge, they pull everything into their system and they generate the statements out of their system. And so getting that link set up takes a little bit of time, and we are still working through that, but we should, like I said, we should have statements go out at the end of the month.
So a little bit of a delay on getting statements.
So July and August will go out at the same time?
That is the plan, yes.
So that will possibly could create some cash flow issues
It
in the following
We're feeling
months.
it.
So we are, I mean, everything is being billed out to the insurance companies. These would just be the balances that are left over with the patients. So the patient statements are what are delayed in going out.
And so how long will Forvis then stay with us on this?
As long as we want them to.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we approved, whatever we approved the last time we approved that agreement with that contract with Forvis, so we did receive a grant of just over $1.1 million through, Candace, help me, Oklahoma Department of Rural Health.
Yeah, OSU.
And so that helped sustain us for a little bit longer. So, I mean, I think that engagement is still active. We haven't utilized all of the funds that you guys approved at this time.
Okay.
So that's likely something that we'll revisit, I would say, soon to talk about what their involvement looks like going forward.
Okay.
The thought was that we keep them on some capacity until we, you know, especially helping Chris in that role in the revenue cycle to make sure that he's comfortable monitoring that and being able to identify when things get out of whack, what's causing that, and where to fix it.
Okay.
So it might be a little more now, and then maybe go to quarterly, you know, touch bases to the point he's comfortable.
And do they help us hold maybe TrueBridge accountable
Oh,
in this
absolutely.
transition to?
Most definitely. I mean, they even help us hold Meditech, like when we were going through the implementation of calls, they held Meditech accountable for things and making sure, even still today, making sure we're on track with the tasks and the things that we wanted to accomplish after we go live are still moving forward. So they have been very helpful in that area.
Okay. Well, we look forward to that progress. Any other questions for Angelica? If not, Angelica, thank you. Next item is the Medical Staff Executive Committee, Dr. Burke.
So, since we met last, we had 2 meetings. One was in July, and one was in August, July the 13th and August the 10th. Our July meeting, there was no actions that required a vote. In August, there were credentialing committee met. We have 3 different reappointments that we need to discuss. And the first one is a reappointment to courtesy staff for Andrea Partida, DO, OBGYN.
Make a motion that we reappoint to courtesy staff Andrea Partida, DO, obstetrics and gynecology.
Second.
Whoa.
Third.
Randall's.
Pick one.
I have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Jay Randalls to reappoint to courtesy staff Andrea Partida, DO. Roll call vote, please.
Simon?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Gaspard?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Burke?
Yes.
Randalls?
Yes.
And we have a reappointment to courtesy staff, Michael Jackson, MD, not the musician, OBGYN.
Make a motion to reappoint to courtesy staff Michael Jackson, MD.
Second.
Whoa. My left ear is better than my right ear, so go. I have a motion by Jay Randalls, a second by Dr. Hannaford to reappoint to courtesy staff Michael Jackson, MD. Roll call vote, please.
Randalls?
Yes.
Simon?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Gaspard?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Burke?
Yes. And a reappointment to courtesy staff, William Garner, MD, cardiologist.
Make a motion that we reappoint to courtesy staff William Garner, MD.
Second.
I have a motion by Dr. Brown, second by Greg Bowman, to reappoint to courtesy staff William Garner, MD. Roll call vote, please.
Brown?
Yes.
Hannaford?
Yes.
Gaspard?
Yes.
Bowman?
Yes.
Burke?
Yes.
Randalls?
Yes.
Simon?
Yes.
I have nothing else.
Nothing else?
Nothing else.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Next item, Quappy.
Everybody get comfortable.
Uh,
It's anyone's work. All right, so those for July departments that were reviewed. IT, their compliance rate with all their tasks being reviewed was 84%. They are currently going to do, or did at that time, I had to walk through. Physical therapy had 34 tasks and were 98% compliant. Jordan is working with COCO to work on implementing some UI studies. Surgery had all 197 tasks reviewed by the committee, and they were 92.1% compliant with all their tasks. They currently have 52 QI studies. Amy is currently building new tasks in the system so that everybody has a list of their tasks are the things that they have to complete, basically to be compliant with the things that are relevant to survey or patient safety. Radiology had 167 tasks that were reviewed. Downtown Clinic, we're working on getting them set up with their tasks. Looks like lab had 322 tasks reviewed and were 98.8% compliant. And I will note that we are currently working on, that's the end of the department compliance that we looked at. We are working with this company. This company is really neat because we've been with her since she started and have helped her build her system out to meet the needs of her clients. Like all of her clients do that, not just us. But it's been neat to be on the ground floor, kind of getting what we need to support our employees and what they do. And she is currently working on, this is Darlene Greenbridge that came to talk to us a couple months ago. She's currently working on the employee evaluation part. And so all of these, you've heard me say they were 98.8% compliant. So all of that is tied to the employees who make that happen. So then when you go to do their evaluation, it's easy to reward them for the work that they've done, or have a conversation with some real data in front of you of what needs to improve. So that's pretty cool. Then at the end of each, not necessarily at the end of the month, but after that coffee meeting happens, together with Darlene, the quality consultant, and Coco, our quality director, and Amber Jewell, the quality secretary, they review these minutes. Darlene goes over them with them and gives suggestions on things that maybe we need to improve on and can implement. So it's very effective. Let's get to the next month. So in August, HIM had 45 tasks and they were 96.3% compliant. Maintenance had 79 tasks and were 98.2% compliant. Environmental Services had 122 tasks reviewed for 99.7% compliance rate. And you think of environmental service, we really ought to call them infection control specialists, because that's really what they are. If they're not doing their job at 99.7% compliance rate, that means somebody could get sick. So we owe them big kudos for all that they do to keep our patients safe. Admissions had 125 tasks and were 99.9% compliant. That's cool. That's the start of our revenue cycle. That's the start of a bill, a clean claim, getting out the door appropriately. Central Supply had 32 tasks for 99.3% compliance rate. Administration had 78 tasks for a 96% compliant rate. And something in administration might be like our credentialing, like med staff credentialing, something to that effect. Med staff actually had 96.7% compliance rate. And then again, getting with Darlene at the end of the month to review all those tasks. In August, there were no grievances, and hand washing was 100%. So Amber does eyes on, and people don't know that she's doing it, but she observed 10 hand washing compliances, and they were all 10 compliant. There were no medication errors. We did have 3 occurrences in July. For instance, one of those occurrences was a power outage due to a storm. One was a fall, and one was that Meditech had an unexpected downtime. That's all I have. You're all educated now. Do you have any questions?
Any questions in regards to coffee? If not, we'll move to improvement to patient care. There's an improvement to patient care tab.
Looks like we had 11 contracts reviewed, and all of those were compliant. Looks like we had another 10 for the next one, and those were compliant.
Are there any questions in regards to the contract review? If not, we can move on to the revisions report.
So those are the policies and procedures that were reviewed. You can see in the 4th column whether there were any changes or no changes and comments made.
So for the one dated June 30th, I need a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the revisions report dated June 30.
Second.
Have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Dr. Simon to approve the revisions report dated June 30th, 2023. Roll call vote, please.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Gaspard,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Okay. Then there's the one for July.
Make a motion that we approve the revisions report dated July 31.
Second.
Have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Jay Randalls to approve the revisions report dated July 31st, 2023. Roll call vote, please.
Gaspard,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hannaford.
Yes.
And then the very last sheet is the return check policy.
So this policy basically allows us to refuse to accept a personal check from someone who has given us a bad or return check for any reason. It would require them to pay with a different form, like a cashier's check or a money order or credit or debit card. And if they do not take care of the return check immediately, it gives us the ability to send them directly to a collection agency.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the return check policy.
Second.
Have a motion by Dr. Hannaford, a second by Greg Bowman to approve the return check policy. Roll call vote, please.
Bowman,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Randall,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Gaspard.
Yes. Okay, that's all the improvement to patient care. Next item is the shared convalescent home report.
So there are, I think, 5 items underneath this report. We'll, as Candace mentioned, we'll probably table A, B, and C when we get to those. But as far as my report is concerned, I'm going to forego a financial report. We found some errors, and the errors were found with regard to the homestead, but we're going to double check and make sure that those weren't also related to the nursing home financial, since they share accounts and everything. So we'll get all that cleaned up and report to you next month what those finances were. As far as the monthly report is concerned, June, a lot of things have happened since June. June was a month where we had quite a bit of staffing shortages, so we did have quite a bit of agency hours that month, as well as overtime. We did have both July and June, same thing. We had between transfers in and regular admissions, we had 3. Between deaths, discharges, and transfers out, we had 4. So each month we kind of had a net decrease in census. We had, in July, we had our annual survey from the state of Oklahoma. This has kind of maybe been overlooked a little bit, but I do want to make sure and report it here to you guys that the nursing staff got 0, all the departments got 0 deficiencies except for me, and I'll wear the one I got like a badge. So there's a reporting issue. Some stuff they wanted, that Medicare wants reported to them on our staffing hours that I hadn't been turning in. But our payroll system doesn't generate the report that's needed. It's not a report that generates us any increased revenue or anything like that. So I had other priorities. So That is the only deficiency we got, but the staff, they did a great job, and I heard over and over and over again, and the surveyors aren't really supposed to say things like this, maybe I won't get them in trouble, but they were just overly complimentary of our staff and how much they could just tell that our staff loved our residents. That's what they said, that your staff loved your residents, and your residents love you guys. And they said that if they said it once, they said it 10 times in the 3 days that they were with us. So that really made me feel good. We did have a nice little party for the staff. They wanted kind of some comfort food, and we had the market cater some Southbury steaks and whatnot. And we did that twice, once for the day shift, once for the night shift, and got them all taken care of that way. We are kind of, it's like we're not buying green bananas, I guess. I don't know how else to put it, but with the pending transaction with Beatles, we're trying to button up some contracts that we have that are going to require notice to get buttoned up, but we still got kind of a moving target for a date when that might happen. So it's kind of been a little bit of I don't know. It really, the mood and everything over there seems really good. It's not chaotic or anything like that. But there's some things that are just out of the ordinary for what our normal daily operations are. We have had some luck with reducing our agency staffing. Beatles, through the process of preparing for the purchase of our facility, they've hired a bunch of staff that more than what they need for their facility. So in lieu of us going out to contract with a staffing agency, we did put a staffing contract in place with Beatles, and we've been using their staff. And that's been working out pretty well for us, and it's discount compared to what we pay for a regular staffing
Helps
agency.
defray their cost.
So I feel like most of the staff are in pretty good spirits about the transition. Most of the residents and families are in pretty good spirits about the transition, and I do believe this is, when we finally get it, all the contracts signed, the state signed off on it, and when all that happens, I do feel like it's going to be really good for our community. We do have, I'm going to say, less than 5 employees that are going to opt out of going to work for them. I think we have 1 resident that's going to move out of Alva, and so I feel like, not knowing how everybody would feel about everything, I think those are pretty good numbers moving forward. It should help the Jordan family as they come and try to transition from their facility to our facility. So does anybody have any questions?
If not, Kelly, thank you for your report. So A, B, and C, we will table those to a future meeting. But under D,
Chairman, you might vote to table those.
well, yeah, that'd probably be good. Guess I actually need to entertain a motion to table those.
I make a motion that we table items A, B, and C under Sheriff County Loss of Home.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Dr. Hannaford to table items A, B, and C under the Sheriff Convalescent Home Report. Roll call vote, please.
Burke,
Yes.
Randalls,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Gaspard,
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Okay. Item D. Do any of you guys want to elaborate on that?
Basically, in the agreement, the contracts that we've, at least the language that we've been discussing so far, there's going to be a requirement that we set up a separate operating account for the period of time which Beatles is managing a shared convalescent home. That operating account will be one that we, any payments that we get from insurers and or direct deposits and things like that, that account will be set up that we sweep from our account into that account, the revenue that they generate while they're managing. It'll also be the account which they pay the bills for the nursing home out of. So it'll be separate from our operating account that we have for the nursing home and the homestead. It'll also be separate from the refurbishment account that we have. So
The management fee will come out of that account.
basically, this item is to authorize Candace or Angelica or their designee to establish an account with a local bank. The next item, E, will be the item to designate the signatories.
Does anybody have any questions in regards to, let's start with D.
That's the easiest way to make it work, isn't it, to start another account?
Yeah.
Best way to keep it separated, track it.
If we don't do that, then the money that's in the account currently would be open to all the signers. And I don't think we want that. I think we just want the revenue that's generated from day one to be available to all the signers.
Well, I'll make a motion to authorize the chief executive officer, chief financial officer, or designee to establish an operating account at a local financial institution in accordance with the management agreement.
Second.
Yeah.
We have a motion by Greg Bowen and a second by Jay Randalls to authorize the chief executive officer, chief financial officer, or designee to establish an operating account at a local financial institution in accordance with the management agreement by and between Alva Hospital Authority doing business as Shared Medical Center and Shared Convalescent Home and Oklahoma Public Trust and Beatles Operations LLC and Oklahoma Limited Liability Company. Roll call vote, please.
Randalls,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Gaspard,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Burke.
Yes.
Okay, next item is E. It says authorize 3 signatories for an operating account in accordance with the management agreement by and between Alva Hospital Authority doing business as Shared Medical Center and Shared Convalescent Home and Oklahoma Public Trust and Beatles Operations LLC and Oklahoma Limited Liability Company. In that agreement, is this our 3 or is this us and them?
I don't think we should vote on this because I think it's defined in the agreement who that is. And I don't think we can vote on this
Until
until
we
you
approve the
know what that
agreement.
says, yeah.
I make a motion we table the action to identify the 3 authorized signatures for the operating account as Jason outlined.
Second.
Very eloquently.
Very
Greg, was that you?
What?
Who seconded it?
Second.
Yeah.
Dr. Stein.
Okay. I have a motion by Jay Randalls and a second by Greg Bowen to table item E. Roll call vote, please.
Simon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Gaspard,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Randalls.
Yes.
Okay. Next item is the homestead report.
As I mentioned, we'll forego the financial reports for the homestead as well. As far as the written reports, homestead is kind of gaining some traction. They're getting more interest in folks moving in. Tommy's had some folks move in each of the last 2 months, and so that's good. There had been, I don't know if you guys will recall, there had been a fire sprinkler line that had bust over the winter. And we have finally, this week, or last week, the sprinkler line repair folks have been out and made the repairs, and now the renovation contractor can get in and do the repairs to the drywall, ceilings, flooring, all that stuff, so that we can get those apartments back in condition to rent. They started some new advertising with, they now have an ad that's on the tabletops at the 818 Diner. And Tanya said they've already got a phone call from somebody that saw the ad there, and so that's good. We'll be, in conjunction with Tanya and Maddie, we'll be looking at the Homestead's website, pages on the Share website to get those updated and maybe a little bit more beneficial for the folks that are looking into the homestead, a little bit more information for them. And then other than that, I'll say, well, number one, their satisfaction surveys have been really great for both employees and residents. Even though they've been dealing with air conditioner issues left and right, and so there's a bunch of, we've had window units running in and out of different apartments from time to time until one of our local HVAC guys can get out and make repairs or replacements to air conditioners. I am happy to try to answer any questions if you have.
Any questions for Kelly in regards to the homestead? If not, anything from the foundation?
I do not have a foundation report.
All right. Thank you for your reports. St. Anthony's bring us anything?
No, Clark actually showed up last week, and so his board meeting is tonight. So actually, Clark and I did have, we got to talk for about an hour when he was here last week, and shared some good information, some stuff we're working on. He actually had been looking at too, so we're talking about some contract stuff, and it was just good to get to network and have that time, so it wasn't a wasted trip.
Okay. Council report?
Okay, other than the routine business, our water department has purchased a mini excavator. We'll be using that between facilities. The general fund is on target. The pool project is coming along nicely. We tabled Oklahoma Natural Gas franchise agreement. The police are getting 10 new tasers and training cartridges. The city approved the workplace wellness policy and workplace tobacco-free policy. We created a local planning activities committee for development of a 5-year capital improvement plan. I don't know what it is, it's not done yet, but we're going to make a committee and talk about it. And we rejected the pond bid on the homestead. Now, the pond bid was rejected due to the contract. I think was the biggest concern. Has that been done yet?
So what is the plan? Since that was
It was
rejected.
tabled, and we rejected the bid. And I think
How long
most of the
was that?
concern was that agreement, whatever it is, was not signed.
Okay.
There was a little concern on the cost, but if it's a new liner and different stuff, I can totally see that cost being correct. But that was the ruffle on the pond, I think, was
Okay.
the franchise agreement, I guess you'd call it, I don't know.
Okay.
But that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you. Under the chairman's report, we have a discussion action to approve HA bylaw review, so that'll be over here at the back. There is at the very last page, I think there's a change that is wanted. It says the Board of Trustees shall meet on the fourth Tuesday of each month at 5:30. Instead, change that to say monthly on a regular date and time as determined by the Board of Trustees. Perfect example was this month. In July, where we didn't technically have one. Yeah. I still have cheesecake. So I would entertain a motion there.
Make a motion that we approve the addendum to the Shared Medical Center bylaws.
Second. Have a motion by Dr. Brown, a second by Greg Bowman, to approve the HA bylaw review. Roll call vote, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Hannaford,
Yes.
Gaspard,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Burke,
Yes.
Randalls,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Okay. There's no other items of new business, so we are adjourned.